What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and in this episode, I don't have any updates for you guys with regards to the production of Transformers 5 and the Transformers Cinematic Universe, but instead, I will be giving you guys a top 10 list. Now, this top 10 list deals with a topic that I find quite interesting, in my opinion, and that is death. Specifically, Transformers character deaths in the Michael Bay live-action Transformers universe. Now, we already know that Michael Bay deals in excess. And by excess, I mean a little bit too much of. Above and beyond, over the top. Excess explosions, excess violence, excess sexy female bodies, excess nice cars, excess military presence. You know what I'm talking about. So, I find that there are a lot of characters, or rather Transformers characters, that died in the 4 films that make up the Transformers Michael Bay universe. Doesn't matter if it's Autobots or Decepticons, but they don't just die. They get beheaded, they get ripped apart, they get blown to bits. In the Mortal Kombat universe, they call them Fatalities. So, in this top 10 list, I'm going to give you, in my opinion, what is the top 10 Transformers Fatalities in the Michael Bay live-action universe. We're going to start off with number 10, and that would be from Dark of the Moon. And that would be Optimus Prime versus Sentinel Prime. I'm talking about the scene where Sentinel Prime was just lying down after he's been shot many times by Megatron. And you know what Optimus Prime does? He shoots him. He doesn't just shoot him once, but he shoots him one more time just to make sure, as if the first time wasn't enough. That's number 10. Number 9 is also a scene from Dark of the Moon. Optimus Prime versus Shockwave. We've been waiting for this battle ever since Shockwave appeared at the beginning of Dark of the Moon, and Optimus Prime puts out his shield and his weapon, or his sword, and then what we see is Optimus Prime flying with his jetpack, taking it off, and then what he does is he puts on his brass knuckles, punches right through him, and then rips off that cable that connects his back with his body with his gun. And then essentially he rips his eye out, and then to add further insult to injury, he uses his gun on the pillar. Okay, so that was nuts. He essentially, Optimus Prime ripped apart Shockwave. Okay, number 8 is a scene from Revenge of the Fallen, and that would be Optimus Prime versus the Fallen. Now that fight scene was a bit of a mess. I mean, we had Optimus Prime fighting Megatron and then Starscream, and then going back to the Fallen. But what he does to the Fallen is really quite something that I can't even visually comprehend. He takes this, like the weapon that the Fallen uses, puts it around his neck, and then he snaps it, and then he punches a hole right through him, takes out a spark, and then he crushes it, and then the Fallen his face just melts, and that was really quite brutal. I mean, that was full-on revenge mode. I mean, that was like Optimus Prime just going medieval on the Fallen. Okay, that's number 8. Number 7 is not a fatality caused by Optimus Prime. It's a fatality caused by Bumblebee, the secondary character in the Autobots that we get to see a lot of. It's a scene from Revenge of the Fallen, and what happens is that Ravage starts creeping up on Bumblebee while he's when he's fighting a rampage, and then Ravage jumps on him and he starts clawing at him, starts biting at him. But you know what Bumblebee does? He grabs his tail, and then he pulls the tail, and then he just rips off all his pieces off, and then all we end up with is his tail and the spinal cord. And not only do we get that, but we see it in slow motion, and you see all the parts come off, and I'm like, holy crap. Bumblebee just totally ripped apart Ravage. And not only that, he briefly uses his spine to whip Rampage, because he ripped it off and then he went psh. So that was pretty crazy. It was something that I completely didn't expect. I mean, I thought that Ravage would put up a bit of a fight because he was just all over Bumblebee, but Bumblebee just totally tore him apart, and it was something that really was quite a shocking scene. That was quite a beautiful fatality, in my opinion. Number 6 is a scene from Dark of the Moon, and we're going back to Optimus Prime, and Optimus Prime taking off Megatron's head. Okay, Megatron said, what would you do without me? Optimus Prime says, let's find out. He puts his mask on, grabs the axe, and then he hits him once, but that wasn't enough. and then he just swings around and then takes off his he slams the axe down on his head, taking off Megatron's head in slow motion and, you know, totally beheading him. And not only that, he did it with one arm. Okay, that was a badass fatality. Seriously, that was beyond nuts. Okay, that's full on execution style, Michael Bay style. Okay, so that was really quite beautifully done. I gotta say that. I mean, even though it wasn't a full on fight, he took out Megatron with style. Okay. Number 5 is Bumblebee versus Soundwave. Now, remember how the Autobots were all captured and Soundwave was pointing his gun at the back of Bumblebee's head? Well, this is where the tables have turned, and then Bumblebee, he punches him in the gut, but not only that, he digs in, and then he aims his arm cannon upwards like an uppercut, and then he just opens fire. And then Soundwave's head just explodes. And just like in typical Michael Bay fashion, it was done in slow motion. And it was, wow. I mean, I totally didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be a bit of a fight. But, you know, Michael Bay, he just likes to take out Autobots and Decepticons like in the most shocking manner. All right? There isn't much of a fight going on. It's a couple of punches here and there. But what this ended up being was an uppercut and then just blowing his head off. And then not only that, he just goes like this and swings his body over to finish him off. So that was pretty awesome. Number 4 is Sentinel Prime killing Ironhide. It was shocking. I actually did not see that coming. I didn't expect it to happen. And then suddenly, Sentinel Prime, he swings around, opens fire, and he blows a hole right through Ironhide's body. I mean, it just went right through. And not only that, he blasted him one more time, and then Cosmic Rust. I mean, he just totally, he melted. I mean, he just rusted away. And I was like, are you serious? Like, Ironhide's gone just like that? So that was quite a fatality. I mean, even though he didn't take him out hand-to-hand style, that rust cannon was just like, that was brutal, okay? And it was shocking, to say the least, okay? Now, number 3, this is a scene that comes from the first Transformers film, and I gotta say is one of the best moments in the Transformers, the first film, and that is Optimus Prime taking out Bonecrusher. All right, starts off on the highway, ends up on the bottom of the highway. I mean, like underneath the bridge, the overpass. And then what was great about it was that it was a very clean fight. Like, it was like the cleanest fight in the entire franchise. It's all done in one take. And then Bonecrusher, he shoots his thing, you know what I'm saying? And then Optimus Prime just goes, whoosh, the sword comes out, he goes, whoosh, and then he takes out his head. And then when I watched it in the theater, everybody was clapping because it was such a great scene. I mean, Optimus Prime just showed what he's made of. All right, this is the first time we're seeing him fight, and then he does so in such a almost like a samurai ninja like stealth style. There's not a whole lot of grunting involved. He just takes them out with ease because he's such a skilled fighter. So that was a great fatality. Number 2 is Megatron taking out Optimus Prime in Revenge of the Fallen. First of all, the forest fight was excellent, but I didn't know how it was going to end, right? And I didn't know that there was going to be a fatality taking place, considering that this forest fight takes place in the middle of the movie. And then suddenly, you know, Optimus Prime has his back turned towards Megatron, and then there's just this huge hole that blows apart. I mean, there's a huge explosion because it was Megatron that stuck his blade right through his back, and then that was like, I mean, that was one of those moments. Like, I was just like, are you serious? That really happened? And not only that, he like just blew him apart. That was a huge explosion, and then we see him fall in slow motion, and that was a really, really, really shocking moment. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought that the movie was over, and how are they gonna continue without a leader? So that was really quite something. I mean, that was an unforgettable cinematic moment, in my opinion. Even though, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Revenge of the Fallen, it was a terrible film, but that moment was really quite something else, okay? That was a really shocking scene. The most shocking scene in the entire, all of the 4 films, okay? And finally, the number one, this is the number one fatality in the Michael Bay Transformers universe live action films. Age of Extinction. Optimus Prime taking out Lockdown. Now, we already seen the battle, the fight, and when you're watching it, you're thinking that Lockdown is quite a formidable opponent against Optimus Prime. I mean, he needed the help of Bumblebee. He didn't really need the help of Bumblebee, but Bumblebee went to join the fight. The humans went to join the fight. Essentially, Optimus Prime was being owned. And then he got owned, and he was almost completely dead because, he was completely impaled with his own sword. Lockdown was completely owning him. He handled himself really, really well. And then, the humans help out and take the swords out, and then the next scene we see is Lockdown about to take out Cade Yeager, but instead a sword goes right through him because Optimus Prime jumps in the air and then he just impales him. And not only that, I thought it was over. I thought that, after he impaled him, it was over. But to finish him off, he raises the sword up and slices his entire upper body to his head in half. And then he just throws his corpse out of the way. And I thought that was oh man, that was Optimus Prime in full-on beast mode. I've never seen anything like that. It's something that I didn't expect, because when I saw the sword come down, I was like, oh! And then when he raised it up in slow motion and his face came apart in half, I was like, oh! So that was awesome. Okay? So I gotta give that scene the number one ranking for the top 10 fatalities in the Michael Bay Transformers universe. I'm going to recap these 10 scenes for you guys. Number 10, Dark of the Moon. Optimus Prime taking out Sentinel Prime. Number 9, Dark of the Moon. Optimus Prime taking out Shockwave. Number 8, Revenge of the Fallen. Optimus Prime taking out the Fallen. Number 7, Revenge of the Fallen. Bumblebee taking out Ravage. Number 6, Dark of the Moon. Optimus Prime taking out Megatron. Number 5, Dark of the Moon. Bumblebee taking out Soundwave. Number 4, Dark of the Moon. Sentinel Prime taking out Ironhide. And number 3, Transformers. Optimus Prime taking out Bonecrusher. So number 2, Revenge of the Fallen. Megatron taking out Optimus Prime. And number 1, Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime taking out Lockdown. And there you have it. This is the top 10 list of Michael Bay fatalities in the Transformers live action universe. What do you guys think about this list? Why don't you give me your list in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. And for the next episode, I hope I have something for you guys with regards to production of Transformers 5. But for the time being, it's really still the early stages of scripting. They're still writing it, and they're mapping out the entire universe for a 10-year span of, 10 to 12 films. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, they're making a lot of films, and it's kept very, very secret. But hopefully in the next episode, I will have something for you guys. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Now, the only other time that we seen an aerial sequence was in the wingsuit chase, which I thought was awesome. That scene